Hello and welcome to Edison TV. I'm Dan Ridsdale and today I'm joined by Carl Herberger, Chief Executive Officer of Corero Network Security. Corero are, as the name suggests, a network security business focused on distributed denial of service protection. Carl.
Pleased to be here, Dan. Really wonderful to be here.
Hey, can you start by introducing the business and particularly distributed denial of service? Tell the audience about what that actually means.
Absolutely. Corero is focused on a single problem. It's service availability, and we provide solutions to technology companies that have to always be up, that have attacks that are focused at trying to take them down. These attacks need to be managed by technology. These are cyber attacks. And the goal of these attacks is simply to disrupt, to deny, to make unavailable, with the purpose of course, trying to keep revenue or a message away. There are many different reasons why people want to take you offline. And the only way to solve this problem is through a technical solution, through essentially a filtering technical security solution.
And what's changed within the business? Obviously, DDoS has been around for a while, and Corero has been around for a while as well. But more recently, we've seen a pickup in momentum. What's changed? What changes have you put in the business?
So what's changed is the entire way technology is delivered. What's changed is the entire way that businesses require technology to be able to run. And really what's changed is the requirement from the consumer, whether it be business consumer or consumer, that requires always on, always up available. Can you actually know how to get into a taxi without Uber? Do you know how to watch a movie without Netflix? Do you know how to order a doctor's appointment without an app, and so forth? So everything's changed, and everything I just managed to talk about requires this oxygen we call availability.
Interesting. So it's obviously the demand environment is hugely positive.
Yeah.
What about the competitive environment? Can you discuss that?
Every once in a while, there's an established industry, which we have, and it's about a $4 billion market every single year with about $500 million worth of renewals that happens over there, growing about 15% CAGR, right? So that's the market. There's two well-established players with somewhere between, depending on how categorically you're looking at it, 25 to 30% market share each. So you could kind of suggest that this is kind of acting the way many other markets work, right? So you have the red company and the blue company, the Coke, the Pepsi, the Ford, the Chevy, the Mercedes, and so forth. We're in that same category as a small, challenging brand, challenging with technology fundamentally, right? The second is that as a result of the technology, it's a lot less expensive. So we're not necessarily feature to feature less expensive. It's just you need a lot less, and you need a lot less work to work it, OpEx. So we have about we believe between 2 and 4% market share, growing quite heavily into the space, driving a commanding competitive proposition out there against two providers that have old tech but have a large market presence. So we view ourselves as Dyson, or something like a Dyson-like company, and we're trying to talk to people that you no longer need paper filters, and you can kind of probably clean this yourself.
Interesting. So looking at the technology specifically, what is it about your technology setup that differentiates you from those peers?
So our problem is to filter the illegitimate traffic. And these digital filters that come out are first to understand the characteristics of the bad particulates in the traffic pattern. And then we need to know how to actually filter them. The old way has been to put filters at the origin of the traffic, so your internet service providers or so forth, and filter from there, and then allow the consumers, the businesses, the benefit of the filter. The challenge is just like a water filtration, like your central water facilities, that if you do it at the central location, your filters have to be coarse. So you actually, you do a lot of leakage is what they call it. So the trend has been to do filters at the source and filters at the front end of the business to be able to get the app to be able to be very granular filtered. So both of those exist. We do that today. And what we make is what's very, very different is we make, in addition to those solutions, a solution that can actually ride on the conduit, right on your pipe, so that we can actually ride on top of the pipe and detect what's inside and know how to characterize it very quickly. And then through the magic of coding, we can actually drive a filter magically to the faucet at time of need, or to the to wherever the water is being distributed at time of need. So said simply, in a tech world, we have a solution that can actually, a software solution that can sit anywhere and see and orchestrate a filtration command on behalf of the network, resulting in the network not needing specific vendor equipment. The network becomes the detector, and the network self-heals through the technology. So that's what's very disruptive. This results in far less OpEx because you don't need specialized equipment.
Right.
And it results in far less OpEx because you don't need to have these network wizards that know how to move traffic around to get into proper filtration systems and then move clean traffic back into the proper environments and so forth. And you have mishaps when you do that. It's just a mean time between failure and the way that you orchestrate these things. Plus, you have a requirement for heavy, knowledgeable engineers to be able to do those sorts of things. And we remove all of that. So this is the adaptable DDoS idea. So this is really our sweet spot. It means that you can actually do DDoS in places that weren't once possible, in the cloud, in the application, throughout the entire organization, as opposed to just building little scrubbing centers and so forth. And it's become widely, when people see it, the magic of it, there's a paradigm that comes down, and it's been magically, wildly successful in the marketplace.
Interesting. So simpler implementation, more efficient implementation, and I guess access to a wider range of network environments.
That's right. And to be honest, also, we're the only ones that will manage it for you. And one of the reasons that we can do that and the other vendors can't do that is because it's so simple for us to manage, because it's so highly automated. And to be honest with you, another thing that we do is we have essentially sentinels in all of our customers to be able to see what's going on. And as a result of that, we can provide weather forecasting for an attack that can come. So as opposed to waiting, because in our world, these seconds or microseconds are everything, we can forward deploy a protection, and we don't need a detection. We can do predictive analysis that is coming. And we can get into that if you like. And that's really the next generation of security, is to understand what's happening, who's at risk, and to actually forward deploy the filtration systems that will catch that.
Predictive analysis. Yeah. Interesting. And you've got ambitious growth plans for the business.
I like to think that they're humble, but as there, I have employees that tell me they're ambitious.
And what are the key elements of that in terms of channels, technology, and so on?
Yeah, we have our go-to-market strategy encompasses, I think, quite a nice set of handsome ways that we actually conjure up revenue. So first, we have the predictable direct selling model, from which we've gone from 8 direct salespeople to 14 this year. And they're all over the world, and most of them come from competing solutions, and they really know the space, and they understand who buys these things and so forth, and who is. We have a partner model that helps us in region with that direct selling force, and they get to hear and provide telemetry of people that have issues in this space. But the third way is we actually OEM our equipment and our tech to some of the world's largest providers. So there are many, many people, probably legions, that don't even realize that it's Corero that's actually doing the filters in the solutions that they've already procured. So, for example, Juniper Networks, one of the largest network providers in the world, being purchased by HPE. Looks like any day now the final announcement will come out on that. Their entire DDoS solution integrated with their router solution sets is Corero. Akamai, the world's largest cloud scrubber. They also have an Amazon equivalent business called Akamai Compute, and other businesses that they purchase throughout the world that they use our tech to enable and fuel and protect and to actually sell through the solution. In fact, Akamai on-prem, that specific product, is a OEM relationship with Corero. And then GTT, one of the world's largest ISPs, internet service providers, is their DDoS solution when you purchase an internet link is 100% us. And all those vendors, all those partners are august and overt about the relationships that we have. So these are wonderful, wonderful relationships. And then we have a high retention rate. The company's been around for 10 years. We have nearly a $20 million recurring revenue stream and 98% recurring, renewal rates on our customers. So these are industry highs. So just the renewal algorithm alone should tell you how effective the software is.
Great. Can we turn now to your financial model?
Yeah,
So you've been growing the revenues robustly, but your earnings have been growing quicker. So you talk a little bit about the operational leverage that you've got, and also how you balance growth versus profitability, investment in growth versus profitability.
So I've been on board for a year. I think we talked about it, Dan. And the goal that we've set, the management team has set on the business, is a rule of 40 by the end of this year. And with the heavy weighting being on the revenue growth component of that, and I would say the somewhat more modest but yet double digits on the EBITDA percentage. We have a scenario whereby we have no debt, large cash, and a pristine way that we go to market in terms of COGS, 91% gross margin. So our journey is to just do more of more, because at the end of the year, essentially in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year, every 50 cents of a dollar goes to the bottom line. So EBITDA, we've guided between 2.1 to 2.5, and that's up from 1.8 from the year prior. So if you do the math, the 10% growth resulted in roughly 15% EBITDA growth. So we're actually double the growth rate on EBITDA versus the revenue growth. That shows you some really hard attention to, as a percentage of sales, the investments in R&D and OpEx and so forth, and attention to it all. We did all of that on the heels of the biggest year we've ever had with product releases and announcements. We had 10 SKUs hit the market. We had a brand new platform, the highest end platform in the marketplace, the highest density platform that were released at the end of the year. We released a brand new set of portfolio capabilities called Core. And Core gives us this amazing capability to do cloud native security at the application level and give visibility capabilities to all of our customers, which we haven't had in the past. So essentially, we've had the hamburger, and now we're filling out the portfolio of fries and Coke and so forth around the business. And we did all of that while adhering very nicely to the cost controls in the company. So we are excited about 2025, because what we think we have is a tremendous product portfolio, significantly differentiated, with many more hands on deck to go sell, with many more partners. We feel like this year's just an execution story.
Interesting. So essentially a business that compounds. You can grow your annualized recurring revenues, invest back into the business at the same time as growing your earnings.
And there's $500 million that renews throughout there. We're not yet a $30 million business. So we just think there's a tremendous amount of harvestability.
Oh, fascinating stuff. Many thanks for joining me.
You can't tell it's a passionate topic of mine. Thanks for having me.